Haiju Kaiju everyone, it's me, Kujiro. I'm back from under the sea and I'm here with Cygnus Pikeman.
Why, hello everyone.
Hello. If you've been watching Cygnus's, which you should go check out, channel, go give him a follow. He's doing the exact same thing as me, but differently. So today we're going to be having a Gundam build-off, well, a 30-minute missions build-off. We're both using the Gardenova Brown and a different kit. You've got the Spinacia, haven't you? And I've got the Spinacio armor type.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, for the benefit of my fans who don't know you, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am just a regular wanderer, making my way in the world. I make things, make memes, make kits. We're always having a little fun.
Excellent. So, do we want to set any rules for the build-off, or do we just want to get straight into it?
Alright, well, I say we just get started, and whatever happens, happens.
Okay. So, let's see. I will start with the Gardenova. So, if you're not familiar with 30-minute missions, they are a entirely customizable set of generic Gundam-alikes created by Bandai, so that you can either come up with your own crazy custom weird stuff, or that you can make unique pieces for your displays. It's everything is pretty much entirely up to you when it comes to 30-minute missions. So let's just open up those bags. Oh, so you went with the Esposito.
Yes.
Ah.
Well,
okay.
there was a very important reason. It was on sale.
Ah, okay. Because you said to me you were getting the Spinacia, and I was like, oh, okay, that's gonna be.
They sold out on me.
Ah. Well, that's a perfectly good reason to swap. I think, though, you're probably going to be better off with the Esposito instead, to be honest, because the Spinacias are designed to fill a gap, I think, between the 30-minute sisters, which is the girl kits, and the 30-minute missions that are these kits.
Alright.
So the Esposito will have more sort of like ports for you to plug things into.
Well, I've never really done this before, so I am just flying blind as usual.
So let's take a look, see what we've got here. Where did I throw those things? There they are. Instructions. So, we can't just be sitting in silence. What is a fun talking point?
So, what got you into model building?
One of the great old ones. Basically,
Nosgoboth?
No, it was Father Dagon in this case. Yeah, he went away on a business trip one day, and he came back with a Gundam kit for me, even though I was probably about 6 or 7 at the time. And that was it. That was where I really began. And then I picked up Warhammer when I was about 10. And it was more or less just all downhill from that. But yeah, so it's basically just been something I've been doing for years. And and I didn't have a rest of that sentence. I just said "and" for some reason.
That's the way it goes sometimes. God forbid we ever understand what we're actually doing.
So you were gonna say something.
Oh yeah, I used to build models when I was a child. Well, all sorts of ones, mostly cars, airplanes. Built a UFO once. Oh, dinosaurs, those were a big one. I stopped building models for a very long time, and it was only recently that I've returned to the hobby. Well,
so what was your favorite kit that you built out of the many years?
Honestly, I think I like the UFO.
I've always wanted to
what
do
it
a
was-
UFO, but I've never done it. But I can kind of imagine what kit it might have been. Was it?
What it supposedly was a UFO from the description from Roswell.
Yeah, that sounds like one of the Polar Lights kits. I was about to say, I was searching for the name of the model makers, but there's a manufacturer called Polar Lights, which is an American company that is famous for having produced a lot of the UFO kits based on the actual reports of stuff. So they did the Roswell one, they did the what's it called, like the Tallahassee Lights incident, something like that. But they've done a whole bunch of them, and they're all sort of available. Although they're actually kind of sought after now because they don't really produce them anymore.
God knows what happened to any of that stuff. It's been like 1 trillion years.
Yeah. But I was actually gonna ask you if you wanted to talk about Bob Lazar. Hello, Siggy. How are you doing today? Don't forget to go give Cygnus a follow over on his channel. So Bob Lazar, con man or mentally
Well,
deranged person. One of those two things has to be true.
no, there's a third option.
That he's real. No. I'm sorry.
No. That he is a psyop.
Okay. That I can sort of believe, yes. But I mean, as someone who is incredibly skeptical of everything Bob Lazar has said, I have to basically also, and I hate this about the fact, but I also have to basically say, well, there's also the very good chance that whoever he's talking about is covering it all up. And I hate that. I hate that fact. It would be, it would be very easy for this secret cabal of Men in Black, presumably, to make all of his records disappear and discredit his name very easily, because they're the people with all the power, in theory.
Well, given how records were kept at the time, if you destroyed a few paper files, then everything was gone.
Mm-hmm.
So, is it possible to destroy the records? Yes. Is it possible that a weird guy didn't make a lot of friends in grad school? Very much, yes.
Okay. Excuse me. Before we get started on the actual discussion, we should probably mention who Bob Lazar is, for people who might have social lives. So do you want to do the honors, or shall I?
Sure, I'll begin. Bob Lazar stated that he was a scientist for a military organization and unspecified in the U.S. government. He claimed to work at Site 8 in a offshoot of Area 51 called S2, where he supposedly reverse engineered a series of non-human craft that were recovered from Roswell. Well, he has also made claims that not only that he worked on the propulsion, that he also may have saw bodies of said pilots. He originally came out with this in an early disclosure on the Coast to Coast show, formerly with George Norrie, and is now with David Nat.
Okay. So just to double check with everyone, can people hear Cygnus on my channel? Because I just want to make sure. Because I've done this before, where we start off talking for hours, and okay, we can hear you. So for context, people should probably know what Coast to Coast is. Coast to Coast is it was an American radio show that was independently run, I think. Or was it national?
Well, it was national, but it was also its own entity.
Yeah, but that's unimportant. Basically, it was like a...
Oh, it still is.
It still is. I wasn't entirely sure if it was still active, but obviously it is. It was... Oh, it does... It deals with... What would you call it? Paranormal news? Or just strange happenings?
Paranormals, preternaturals, unusual experiences, conspiracy theories, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so it's, if you're in the UK and you know what this is, it's basically the American version of the 14 Times. I should get a subscription to the 14 Times. I loved that magazine as a kid. Do you know what the 14 Times is?
No.
Okay.
Is it like the Weekly World News?
No. It was a supplementary. It's not a supplementary. It's a I guess you could. The closest comparison would be the Weekly World News, but they had credibility in the fact that they used to do. They didn't make stuff up. They just would look into strange happenings, and sort of weird events, and also cover things like horror movies and other stuff. So a lot of conspiracy theories, a lot of is the Owl Man real? Owl Man is the British version of Mothman, if people don't know it. That sort of thing. So on and so forth. But back to Bob Lazar. So yeah, he was a man of theoretical credibility. He was like one of the first whistleblowers on this sort of thing, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was very early into the disclosure process. Now, the story of why he became that is actually pretty interesting.
Okay.
So,
I will say I don't know that much about his actual sort of like backstory when it comes to the things around him. All I know is that he is also mainly know him from his discreditations. So things like his supposed non-existent university thing, his like no existence within the US military, etc.
Well, when you're a civilian contractor, you don't become part of the military.
Well, again, basically him not having any form of record of like working or providing work for. That's the sort of thing that I mean. So yeah, no. Before I interrupted, you were going to say.
So, when you're doing classified work like that, he is saying you are going to have your phones monitored.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, what he was saying is his wife, well, turns out she was cheating on him. Well, what that is in the intelligence world is considered a compromising factor. And that means you can get your clearance pulled over that.
So because his wife was cheating on him, or is this like, was she literally cheating on him, or is this code word?
She was having a sexual affair with another man.
Okay, so she was literally cheating on him.
Again, this is all Bob's story.
Mm-hmm.
So he has pulled that. So they had his credentials pulled, so they stopped giving him work.
Right.
So now, again, they don't tell him any of this. So he just thinks he's going to get black bag.
Which means assassinated by the government.
Yes.
Or the FBI or CIA or...
Well, it'd be whoever actually runs that program. They're probably not a named group.
Yeah, let's call them Section 32.
For copyright reasons.
Huh? Oh no, I was infringing on copyright. I was talking about the Star Trek.
Oh, you mean 31?
Oh, is it 31? Okay.
Yes, I thought you were doing that intentionally.
Oh, okay. No, this is Section 32 then, for copyright reasons. Which Lower Decks really points out a very fun fact, like a funny fact about Section 31 is, why did they even exist in the Federation? The Federation is meant to be about science and exploration. Why do they need a paramilitary assassination group for covert ops?
Well, essentially, the Federation is a military organization.
Yes,
They
it's
claim they're not, but they operate in every way,
yeah.
shape, and form as a military.
They run entirely like a
Including
navy.
using-
Yeah.
They even use a traditional force projection.
Mm.
They are both a defensive and offensive.
But the Prime Directive says that they can't interfere.
Yeah, in the affairs of non-warp civilizations, that doesn't count for everyone else.
Well, what
But
about
that's really a side tangent.
what about the I forget what the name of the other race is, but what about the Breccians?
Breccians.
They're from TNG.
Oh, were they the people they were going to have their planet destroyed, and they spirited them away?
No. I think you're thinking of Data's friend. That the Breccians were from the episode the episode was called Symbiosis, I believe. And it was about a race that was providing... I mean, this is spoilers for...
A show older than most people watching.
Yes, it's older than me, and that's saying something. But in the episode Symbiosis, basically the Breccians were a race of people who were suffering from a disease, and the only people who had the cure for the disease that was apparently affected them in where they needed to take medication every 48 hours, otherwise they would start feeling the ill effects of the disease, were the people on the opposite planet. And they produced the medication for them. And they would feel great for about 48 hours, and then the side effects would kick in from the withdrawal of the medication. So you can probably see where this episode is going. There we go. But basically the premise of the episode is, what if one race was actually being parasitic on another, but framing it as a beneficial relationship?
Yeah, that's one of those. One, it's an interesting ethical conundrum, and B, this shows the bias of the Prime Directive.
Mm-hmm.
Now they claim they were following it. So let's start from the top. So the Federation agreed to help transport this medication for them.
No. The Breccians broke down their one remaining freighter that they had out of the entire planet was breaking down, and they didn't know how to repair it. They needed a transwarp coil. And so in order to ensure that things were going smoothly, they transported the medication over to the Enterprise. Going smoothly, they transported the medication over to the Enterprise. Getting some feedback there.
That was a separate source. I have my chat open on my phone.
Ah, okay.
It looks like they're connected to a Bluetooth and that died.
That's all right. So yes, so basically they transported all the medication over to the Enterprise, and as it turns out, they didn't know anything about the technology. They didn't know how to repair it. They only knew how to like pilot it. And all the people on the other planet were very intent on keeping things the way they are.
Get out of here.
Anyway, I've lost my train of thought. What were we talking about? Bob Lazar getting body bagged. 32, 31. Back on track. Bob Lazar. Come on. Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah.
Ah, that was a lovely tangent.
Yeah. So Bob Lazar was going to get murdered by the CIA or whoever. Section 31.
Well, that... Yeah.
I mean 32.
Yeah, that's what he thought. 32.
Mm-hmm.
So he started making disclosures. So he's taking people out.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at their test flights. And then he kept doing it. He made a bit of a show of it, and that eventually got him caught.
And
So because of that, he then started going on the radio, trying to make it public of what's happening. Because they figured if he's going to disappear, he might as well make a story to give him some protection, in theory.
Well, that is the most plausible sort of explanation in this instance. Like, sort of a live fast, leave a big ugly corpse sort of logic, I suppose. So yeah, so what would... So the four possible options are: 1, he's telling the truth. 2, he's making it up. 3, it is a psyop. Or 4, he's crazy. And these 3 seem like the most reasonable. Or rather, these 3 seem like the most reasonable. Because obviously he's just making it up for money. It's a psyop, and it's covering up something. It's distracting people from some other thing. And the other one is like he's just mentally deranged, and he has no actual history whatsoever. So the most interesting one there is like, what would it be a psyop against?
Discrediting people from looking too deeply into unexplained aerial phenomenon, which are actually highly classified vehicles.
So, because was he working on Project Blue Book?
No, this happened way after Project Blue Book. Project Blue Book is basically people are seeing UFOs. What are these things?
Well, that was the thing, is like people thought that Project Blue Book in itself was a psyop because it was people are seeing UFOs and the government's looking into it, but they're really just hiding their own sort of work because they need to cover up the fact that they're building super secret aircraft.
And that is what there is credibility to that happening, because we know a lot of the early reports of certain UFOs were the stealth bomber.
I mean, even now today, like what the Blackbird, even though it's no longer in use, still looks like could easily be mistaken for alien spaceship. I mean, if you just look at the thing.
Flying wings look weird.
Hmm.
They're a strange kettle of fish. And maybe it's well, maybe it's something we haven't even thought of what they're hiding. Because that's part of the point, is we're not supposed to know what they're up to.
Well, this is...
Or maybe it's just to keep people busy for digging into other things.
Well, this is kind of where people think that Alternative 3 is real, if you're familiar with that.
Where he's just a crazy person?
Oh no, sorry, I shouldn't have used the word alternative. No. So, if you're not familiar with it, Alternative 3 is a British... It was produced by Granada TV, I believe. And Granada TV is the second largest television company after the BBC, out of the British-owned ones. And Granada was somewhat famous for producing April Fool's jokes. And they're kind of well documented. The two most famous are the Italian Spaghetti Tree and Alternative 3. And the first one is what it sounds like. It is basically a April Fool where they made up the idea that spaghetti is actually grown on trees in Italy, and it's harvested. And so they made an elaborate news report back in like the 1960s about how, for April Fool's Day, about how there is a harvest of spaghetti every year, and everyone had a good laugh at it. But a few people thought it was real because they saw it on the news, and British people are stupid. Now, that's just some classic, people being dumb. Alternative 3 is where things get much, much weirder and a little bit scary. Because, not necessarily because what they're talking about is real, but because of the lengths at which people believed it. So Alternative 3 was a pseudo-documentary that Granada TV produced. It was basically a reporter looking into the mysterious disappearances of numerous scientists, how some of them had died, others had just disappeared completely, and where had they gone. Now, if you have an eye for British sitcoms, you'll notice that the characters in it are played by some relatively well-known, but also you could easily mistake them for someone else, character actors in England. But if you watch some famous British sitcoms like Allo Allo, you'll notice that some of the actors in that are actually actors from the same are from that sitcom. And so that's kind of the giveaway there. However, people thought it was real because at the end of the show, it basically explains that the scientists have been secreted away because they either discovered too much or they are being moved off planet by a government conspiracy. And the conspiracy is that they have set up a secret base on Mars because, and this is bearing in mind this is the 1960s, the planet is facing global warming. Actually, it's 1970, I believe. And as a result, they are being whisked away to save them from the inevitable fate of everything else. But at the end of this TV episode, or the end of the documentary, it shows footage recovered from a space shuttle that secretly landed on Mars, and eerily beneath the Martian surface of the surface of the Martian soil, something strange begins to stir and move, to the alarm of the astronauts on board the shuttle. And Alternative 3 then had a book written about it, as it was proved to be an incredibly popular TV show. But reruns weren't really a thing in the UK, so they wrote a book about it. They had hired someone to write basically a sort of, here's what you missed in the TV show sort of way. And it was effectively like a press release or something akin to that. And it got exported to America under publishing rights, because it was bought up in a publishing house sort of rights deal, I believe it was. There is actually a documentary on it out there on how like the whole conspiracy unveiled itself. And because it was published in America, no one in America had seen the British documentary, because there was no way that they could have. Unless they had been in England at the time, they would never have seen this pseudo-documentary. So they believed it was real. And it began spinning out of control. And so Alternative 3 is now believed by a small selection of people to be this psyop / conspiracy about a secret Mars base, and where have the scientists gone, where are they now, who's been killed, that sort of thing. And it's that sort of way in which people have the life is imitating art at this point, where people are reading too much into the conspiracy theory, that sort of thing, or reading too much into fiction that it is sort of believed to be actually real. So yes, that's the story of Alternative 3. I forgot where we were again.
That's saying that this is a fiction that some people believe.
Yes, there we go. So yeah, is Bob Lazar just really good at telling stories?
That's possible.
Because it's very easy to make a story about how you used to do contract work for the government, but then something went wrong, and now all the information about you has disappeared because of the conspiracy theories. But that kind of leads into other stuff, like...
Well, if whatever's happened, Bob Lazar keeps a very consistent story. He acts very similar between the tellings of the story, so he's remarkably consistent through everything.
Mm-hmm.
So if he is, so whatever he is, he's good at it. So either he's telling something that did happen,
Mm-hmm.
or he's repeating a consistent story. He's an excellent liar, or actor, whatever you want to say. So that consistency, I think, is an interesting point in what's happening now. Because if he was telling a fairly inconsistent story,
Mm-hmm.
then it would be easy to, well, it's clearly spinning a yarn. But because it's a consistent, means either he has it all written down and memorized, or someone else had it done for him.
Well, that's the thing, is like, do you think that Bob Lazar is telling the truth? Like, personally, do you think that this is a real series of events, or do you think it lies somewhere between the lines?
I don't think it's knowable. I mean, it's easy to just dismiss ridiculous stuff out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
But for all we know, he did work on a captured vehicle, but we got it from a different source. They were just lying about where they got it. That's an option that we didn't consider.
Mm-hmm. That it's not actually alien, that it's just something from another country that...
Yeah, they got it from, I don't know, some advanced weapons program from a country we don't want to talk about. Because I don't want to anger any particular nation. And we're reverse engineering. We just, yeah, Bob, it's aliens. We totally didn't steal this. It's aliens, my dude. From Zeta Reticuli.
Therein lies another question, sort of. Out of all the different conspiracy theories that exist, which one, and I mean as in their true form, as in the way that they are presented to the world now, reptilians, Area 51, the Nordics, Lemuria.
Wait. When you say Nordics, do you mean the aliens or the other ones?
I mean the alien race that, you know, that the Aryans were really into.
Oh, okay, because there's a split in UFO lore. There's the Nordics, which are aliens.
Yes.
That just look like really tall people. Then there's the Hyperboreans, which are also a form of Nordic, which come from an area that is north of the North Pole.
They come from Hyperborea, which is a theorized place that actually originated in the Conan mythos, I believe. Or was it?
I don't know about that. I thought it was made by that by some crazy lady. That name escapes me. It's like this whole YA creation myth they had going that involved like magic races and.
Are you talking about the
North Pole and Deep Earth?
Are you talking about the like sort of neo-Christian spiritualist woman?
Is that what she was? I honestly haven't looked too deep into this one.
Let me look up the YouTube channel, because if it's who I'm thinking of. Let me find her. Because a lot of the modern sort of conspiracy theory, spiritualism, children of light, sort of star children, crystals, races, all that kind of thing, leads back to a woman named Helena Blavatsky, who was...
Okay, let's talk about crystals for a hot second, because using magic rocks is a centuries old process. There are some Greek uses of it, but that's not really well documented. It was actually incredibly common in the pre-Islamic Middle East.
Well, when I say
use of magic rocks and worship of rocks.
When I say about crystals and stuff, I mean the modern spiritualism that we see in sort of the homogenized spiritualist community, where you see people talking about healing crystals, vibrations, auras, and what it tends to be is a combination of Christianity, paganism, Buddhism, with elements of various polytheistic religions mixed in to into one vague, non-specific, non-religious religion.
So it's like the Catholic Church?
A little bit, yeah. And then from that you get things like I'm trying to think of who would be the least likely to see this and least likely to sue me.
They can't sue you if it's true.
No, but they still have lawyers. Modern powerful religions. That sort of thing. Ooh. Does that fit in there? Yes, it does. It's got a gun.
Alright.
But if you're not familiar with the channel, Weird Reads by Emily Louise, I highly recommend it. I'll post it in yours as well.
Thank you.
Oh wait, hang on. There we go.
I'll check that out later.
Because she does a lot of very in-depth research into weird events and missing people, things like Bohemian Grove, hoaxes. That sort of thing.
So let's get back to your original question. So we're listing off conspiracies.
Mm-hmm. So out of the sort of persistent, vague enough to be everything, I suppose QAnon is now large enough to be included in this. Conspiracy theories. Which one do you think is most likely to be real?
Alright, so I will just state what I think is the case.
Mm-hmm.
One, we know UFOs. People see stuff in the sky and we don't know what they are.
Mm-hmm.
And 95% are clearly just not understanding what the sky looks like, because there's a lot of weird stuff in it.
Yes.
And that 5% of we just don't know what that is. Could it be alien craft? Why not? We can't really. They're not human.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't really speculate on what they're doing, why they're doing it, if that's even the case. Could it be a series of classified craft? Also, yes. Could it be an unknown weather phenomenon? That's also a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Which actually, one of the groups of UFOs that people were reporting are actually a rare phenomenon known as an ELF, or it is a high altitude electrical dismission, which is basically reverse lightning.
Hmm.
So normally lightning goes down to the ground, but it turns out lightning can actually go up.
Yeah.
I don't know why or how, because that doesn't make any sense. But
Hey, electricity
they
is lazy.
are
It takes the shortest, most easy path for it to move, so...
everything's lazy.
Mm,
Electrons don't do that. Electricity does that. It happens in macroscopy. It's everything's always lazy, looking for the easiest way to get by.
well, that's the primary law of, like, the universe is conservation of energy.
One of the big three, yeah. Conservation of energy, the increasing entropy, and the fact that matter cannot be created or destroyed. Entropy is generally going towards zero. And there was one more that I always blank on the third because they never use it. Each force has an opposite
An equal reaction.
Equal reaction.
I was gonna say that, and then I was like, is that the right one? But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the one I never use.
it's the primary law of the universe. Start shit, get hit.
Yeah, there you go. But okay, so we clearly know where people see stuff, they don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the debate is, well, what are they? And that's where we are with that.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is, okay, we are also just really bad at finding animals.
Yeah, so there's a lot of them, so they tend to get mixed together.
So could there be a species of primate in North America that is being resistant to being declared officially? Yeah, I can believe that, especially when no one's looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the big two I think are possible. Aside from the ones that are just they're just facts now.
Well, we kind of are in a weird place where things like the thylacine, people are saying that those things still exist, that they're seeing them all the time. Which is the Tasmanian tiger, if people aren't familiar with it. Thought to be extinct.
That's well, the classic example is the coelacanth.
Yes, the
We thought
coelacanth.
those things were definitely extinct,
Mm-hmm.
and somehow it wasn't.
I forget where they actually found the coelacanth. It was in...
I believe it was a fish market.
Yeah, they found the first one in a fish market, and it was actually a woman who found it. She was like completely blown away that she actually saw it in the first place. But the actual fish itself was discovered in, was it either China or Japan? And they were like, yeah, we catch one of these things every once in a while.
Oh, I thought it was Laos.
Was it Laos? Okay.
I mean, I don't know that for a fact. That's what I vaguely remember from the thing I watched 1 trillion years ago.
I know that it was probably
That's all
somewhere
right.
in Asia.
So, again, saying, okay, there's an animal we haven't found. that's not magic.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing with this happened a lot. Let's see, a ribbon fish, a winged fish, the wild man of Central Africa. All those are real animals.
I'm not familiar with the wild man. You'll have to inform me about him.
Oh, they're gorillas.
Oh, okay.
Lowland gorillas. They explorers just thought they were really tall, hairy men.
Mm.
In fact, originally, when they reported the existence of gorillas, basically nobody believed them.
Mm. Yeah, I do remember something about that. But that
Same
kind
was
of
true for whales and sea serpents, or ribbon fish, and sea snakes. Oh, and let's not forget the colossal squid, the kraken.
Yeah, well, we definitely got proof that exists.
Yeah, that's real. We got bodies.
Although we have to point out the fact that the colossal squid is, when it's up on the surface, it is not there to be alive. It is.
It's a depth creature.
Yeah, it is up on the surface because it has become disoriented at the point of death, and so it is kind of rising up in its disorientation, and that it sort of accelerates the death process because their bodies begin to decompress very rapidly.
Now, I don't know if they actually hunt whales or not, because that is a thing I heard, and I don't know if that is true or not.
No, so colossal squid are very large, but they're not large enough to hunt something like a sperm whale. But a sperm whale is large enough to eat one of them. So, because we found sperm whales with very large suction scars, which are the circular scars left by tentacles when they are fighting the squids, or when they are trying to eat the squids will latch on, and basically an octopus's arms are incredibly strong. Just a regular size octopus. So a giant squid, or a colossal squid, which is even bigger than a giant squid, is going to be much, much stronger. And so that leaves a scar, and we have proof that these sort of like very large squid exist just by the markings of the scars from predation. So we are onto the flanks. I've got to see where you're up to. Which part are you working on?
I'm working on the center of him.
We're also on the same piece.
I'm kind of confused on this one.
Confused?
Should go.
How so?
Yeah, because it's saying it's going onto the little peg, or just the area right above it.
Flip it around, because I had the same issue. Flip it around to the other side.
Oh. Oh, is it a little notch that goes right there?
Yeah, one's slightly higher than the other, and you want the one that's on the lower side, I believe. So, now that we've talked about which one could be the realist, which is your favorite conspiracy theory, that is? I will say mine is probably the reptilians. But
yeah, I gotta love the reptilians versus the Greys versus the Nords. That is a life of its own. It is. Well, it's basically a religion at this point.
Well, the the reptilians is widely cited as having been originated from the Hidden Kingdom, which is
Hi
by
guys.
Arthur Conan Doyle, I believe. Or was that? No. It was whoever wrote Conan.
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about. Which I always thought it came from that TV show, V.
V was actually informed by that book, by that short story. Because that was written in the 20s, I believe. Which was informed by H.P. Lovecraft's writing, if I'm not mistaken, because it makes reference to Yig, and Yig is the serpent god, and the serpent men, or the snake men, the lizards, worship him as their god in that book, or that story. So we kind of have H.P. Lovecraft to blame for
So much stuff.
so much stuff. Okay, so is that bit done now? I believe it is.
Oh, I'm still fighting with it.
I've still got the legs to make though. Okay, and the torso. So we were discussing this yesterday, but Howie was a weird dude.
Yeah, he was a interesting fellow.
And one of the I would recommend people who are fans of his work to go read any of the stuff by Alan Moore that he has written.
Yeah, Alan Moore and Lovecraft have a lot of overlap.
Well, Alan Moore is informed by Lovecraft to a great extent, but I was
thinking of their general misanthropy.
Oh yeah, there's that. There's that to no end. Alan Moore is generally more optimistic, though, if you can believe it.
No. I guess I just haven't read the right Lovecraft.
I mean, Howard was a outsider in his time. Probably because, as I've said before, he was probably on the spectrum. He was probably autistic. And interestingly, do you know that we get the word elf from, well, the word eldritch and the word elf have the same root in Gaelic.
I did not.
And it literally comes from the word outsider. It means to be a thing outside of, or rather the word elf comes from eldritch, I believe, and the word eldritch comes from a word that I cannot pronounce, but it's something like Yeldach in Gaelic, I think. And it's either a Welsh or a Scottish root word, but it basically means to be a being from outside of somewhere.
And I assume that's where the D&D gets the word outsider. as referring to really what the Greeks would call a damos.
Yes, the demos is a internal spirit. Everyone has a demos in Greek belief. And it is...
No. The demos and damos are different.
Oh, are they separate ones? Yes. 'Cause
Damos refers to a incorporeal entity, like basically a spirit, like a spirit of a rock. But even some of the more elusive creatures, like the nymphs, would be a damos.
I'm trying to remember what it is I know about the Greek mythos. I know that the most recent thing I learned was that centaurs and thorns are often represented as, well, they are literally and figuratively half man and half animal. And the reason that they have the sort of natures that they do, if you know the original myths, so that thorns were very quixotic, they were very mercurial, they would be very easy to forget things, they could interact with humans and be very great musicians and so on, or warriors, I believe if it was a centaur. But the reason that they had these sort of impulsive natures is because they were literally constantly at odds between the thinking brain of a human and the animal mind. So they were literally of two minds. And so that's why in the Herculean mythos, Hercules' wife Megaera is raped by is it Philoctetes? Philides? Because it was a fit of animal lust. And then Hercules, of course, goes on to murder his wife and children because she was raped by his mentor. Citation needed also. Concerning?
I thought he killed her in a fit of blind rage that was brought on by Hera.
Possibly, but the way that I know the story.
Come on, let's be real. There's no one Greek myth.
Yes. I was just about to say is like, you've heard one story, I've heard another. We've both heard the same story.
Yeah, Greek myths are basically the comic books of their era. They're a mess.
Yeah, that's because the Greeks told all their stories orally, though. So, literally everything would change from whoever was telling the story. It's very Rashomon.
Yeah. Looks like I dropped my main piece.
Oh no.
Yeah, there we go. Get a flash of foot for everyone.
How is everyone out there? Let's check in with our viewers. Is anyone still watching, or have we descended into ignorant rambling?
Oh please, we're university lecturer levels. At least community college.
More like clown college.
Oh, don't give me. I wish. Clown college is so hard.
I thank you not to refer to Princeton in that way.
I shall not.
So, what were you going to say?
Something. So, Greek myths, comic books, permutations of stories, derivations. How I can't freaking find C4! What?
That's a clip for the CIA.
Look, Derek knows what's going on.
Always say hi to your observationist. Forget what the word is.
Oh. Yeah, too bad they've all been replaced
Surveillance
by AI.
specialist. There we go. There we go.
I miss a good old-fashioned human agent monitoring me. Now I just got a robot. It's upsetting.
Is this going on the right way? Yes, it is. What country in the world would you most like to visit? There is only one correct answer.
Knowing you, I'd say Japan.
Ding, ding, ding! We have a winner. There we go. He said the magic word.
Honestly, I want to go to Thailand.
Thailand, okay. Not a bad choice.
I've known a lot of people who've been to Thailand, and through my professional life. And everyone loves it. The food's great, the people are nice, they have the best tailors in the world. So,
You've seen the Top Gear special, haven't you? Haven't you? Admit it.
I've never really watched Top Gear.
Really? Okay. I thought every American watched Top Gear for some reason.
No.
It's like those one weird Anglophile moments where they're like, we have to watch this British show.
No, the old Doctor Who is the Anglophile move for me.
Okay, good choice. Favorite classic Doctor?
I like the first one. The old professor. He was fun.
Oh, William Hartnell. Okay.
Him getting beat up by the Aztecs. That was just lovely.
Back when Doctor Who was meant to be an educational program.
Are you saying the Sylvine are not real and aren't controlling the lizard government from a space station broadcasting news?
Is that what happened in one of the early ones? Sylvine.
Actually, that's from Modern Who. That was Eccleston, I want to say.
Oh yes, the Sylvine are the big green baby-faced things.
Yeah.
I never liked that species. They always sort of bugged me. Honestly, Modern Who is something that I've never really been able to have much appreciation for since
So, Modern Who is actually how I got introduced to Doctor Who.
Really? Okay.
One of my coworkers, she was obsessed with it, and we became friends.
Mm-hmm.
And she made me Doctor Who. So I got to watching it.
Well, did she only watch Modern Who though, or did she watch classic Doctor Who?
She watched classic and thought modern would be a good way to get me into it.
Ah, okay. So at least she had some taste.
Which I liked it. I honestly thought it was going to be an entire show about fighting the plastic people. I didn't realize it was a monster of the week until like episode 3.
Oh yeah, I mean, some of the series were purely about fighting one specific enemy, but the Autons are usually rolled out for classic but not so interesting sort of things. Honestly, the Terror of the Autons, where I believe it's their first appearance, is way more terrifying than they've really been done in the past. Because although the effects aren't especially good, they have several quite terrifying concepts, like an inflatable chair that is actually alive and is purely there to kill you. And you see a man consumed by a plastic chair, and it's very unsettling.
Oh, I gotta see here. And I also used to watch a fair bit of British stand-up.
Like who? Whom?
Who did I watch? With whom did I see?
No. Who did you watch?
Let's see here. It was David Cars and Frankie Boyle.
I knew you were going to say Frankie Boyle. Everyone says Frankie Boyle. Hello, Sentai. How you doing?
Hey, Sen.
Common Scarlet says, I made it. It's over on your channel.
Yes. I see Cars. She's lurking. It's early for her.
Let's see. Body. There you are. Oh, I see what that is. It's all plastic all the way down. Or should I say?
Isn't it?
It's all spares.
Isn't it all plastic?
It's all spares all the way down. What are you up to, Sentai? What are you doing out there? Why are you spinning what appears to be an orca at me? When you could have the Kuji dance emote. I got 6,000 albums to shift. Nobody's buying my Kuji dance.
I had the same problem. I was booking it to Hano back in 08. We had 5,000 CDs. These shipped into my garage. We just were not moving them at all. The producer was furious.
Is that a real thing that happened?
Actually, that is a real thing that happened.
How did you end up with what? How did you get 5,000 of presumably someone else's CDs in your garage?
We were working with a different distribution company that was supposed to house them, and as part of what was going on, they lost that housing, so we took them in. And just kind of sat on them until they were supposed to be moved out to their second distribution. Well, someone dropped the ball on the secondary distribution because we were just on the production side. It, uh, it, uh, we were weren't even
CD's
supposed to
nuts.
be doing this. Yeah, we weren't even supposed to be doing that. We weren't even in the distribution. We were just doing this as a favor to the producer. And it all just went pear-shaped. Which I never really got that expression. Pears are delicious. They have an aesthetically pleasing form. I don't... What's wrong with, pear shape? Seems good. It's a good thing.
Pears contain cyanide, so it's probably that.
So do apples and this delicious cyanide salt I put on all my food. Just so good.
Peaches contain cyanide, apricots contain cyanide, everything contains trace amounts.
But it takes it takes a lot of cyanide to be a problem. A fun fact, not everyone can smell cyanide.
Really?
Yes, you need a specific mutation to be able to smell it.
How fascinating.
Which is smells like bitter almonds, as everyone knows.
Mm-hmm.
I presume it tastes like bitter almonds.
It's supposed to taste like burning.
Actually, I have a cyanide story.
Okay. Tell the cyanide story.
So we were doing nitrations of benzene derivatives. For those who don't know, I'm a chemist, so this is all above board regulated. One of the things we're doing is we're using cyanide as a catalyst. Is because, quote, everyone should work with cyanide at some point, end quote.
Especially if you're a chemical worker.
Which, in fairness, is really good advice. Because you are going to work with things way more dangerous than cyanide. And if you can't keep your head, you can't work with it safely, you should be... this is not the business for you. So, we were doing this using as a catalyst for the nitrations. Not working at all. And what winds up happening is the professor overseeing this decides he's going to check on the cyanide, and he winds up taking a big old sniff of that box.
Okay.
It's a big old whiff of cyanide. It's like, yep, that's cyanide. And he went and goes lays down in his office. 2 weeks later, we find out the cyanide was expired, and that's why he's alive and fine, and why our reactions weren't working.
So the only way to prove that the cyanide was working was to effectively poison him.
Incidentally, that is how it worked. Oh, but yeah, he was just sniffing it just to see if it was fresh. Which you're not supposed to do that. I
can imagine not. Cyanide gas is probably more poisonous than cyanide
is. It was a powder of sodium cyanide. 90% of things are just nondescript powders.
So then, share with me chemical horror story. Like something you've heard about or you know of that happened.
I don't know if I can.
Is it that bad? Because there is a person on YouTube who does chemical horror stories, A lot of the time, it's like escaped by the skin of your teeth sort of thing.
Oh no, he didn't escape. It's a dangerous job.
It's Dirty Jobs with Mike Rowe.
Come to think of it, like, almost all my jobs have been fairly dangerous.
So what's the most dangerous one you've done?
I was here. How can I put this? I was a framer for a while, and my job was putting on roofs. So you're up there, 2-3 stories in the air, walking a 1/4-inch beam, high winds, moving heavy objects. That was pretty dangerous.
I don't know about you, but I've finished my Gardenova.
I haven't. I'm making a leg.
The very idea that these are supposed to be finished in 30 minutes is laughable to me.
I put on his leg backwards.
Oh, this is the part where you need a part separator. Share a My Chemical Romance story. Skill issue. Says Sentai.
Yeah, it kind of is. I'm going to get ahead and start on my next kit. So yes, in news for me, I have ordered a new GPU because... Oh, it's the one that you posted in your Discord?
Yes. So Ash was helping me figure out what was the issue with my computer and why has it been chugging when I try and run games. And so the fun comparison that after a while we figured out it was the GPU is very weak. Very, very weak. Very, very, very weak. Like, it's a miracle that it's even been running half of the stuff that it has. Ash has no idea how I can run VC Face for some reason.
Oh.
So we decided on... We eventually basically ran in a few different sort of prices, different sort of like what was available for my computer specifically, and we ended on the Radeon 6650, which is like a slightly upgraded version of the 6600. So we then did a speculative sort of Ash did a speculative comparison between all cards within that sort of scope, and my card compared to the Radeon that I have bought is quite significant. So the my card, well, the Radeon was ranked within the top 5, well, top 10, I think, available out of 50 cards, top 10 available sort of like for me. Obviously the rest being quite significantly higher prices and power performances. The card I have was in the bottom 3 out of 50 cards. It was ranked something like 47 out of 50. So yeah, hopefully once the card is installed, you're going to see a significant increase in the sort of performance of my streams. Also, I found out how a lot of the big VTubers stream and play games, and the answer is they cheat and have 2 computers.
That's what I always thought you were supposed to have.
Well, nobody told me. So...
That's why I have 2 computers. They just don't work.
Well, you should mix them together.
I'm working on it.
So here we go. Here's the Spinacio army type. Oh my god, I have no idea what I'm doing. So, my dentist thinks that I have arthritis in my jaw, which is kind of a scary thought. How did it get in there? Clenching my teeth, apparently.
Well, why'd you let it in? That seems like a silly thing to do.
That's the thing, is like I don't carry stress well, so I clench my teeth, and as a result, now I have no teeth.
Well, just do what everyone else does. Just disassociate. I'm sure that's a healthy coping mechanism.
Isn't disassociating where you lose grip on reality?
Yeah. The thing that's happening to you is happening to someone else. Totally not a major problem. All the cool kids are doing it.
Oh, there's a fun thing we could do. Let's shit on Zoomers.
Oh, please, yes. Gang.
They have... I know exactly what you're referencing, and I fucking hate you for it. I'm hungry.
Ice cream so good. Gang it.
Yes. Spam emotes in chat.
Bloody neckbeard bastards.
What did you say?
Not a fan of elves.
Okay. I thought you said the other word that you're allowed to say, but I'm not.
No, knife-eared.
Whew! I had my news feed up earlier, and I did an accidental boo-boo dyslexia racism where it said the headline was Niger coup developments, and I read it as something else. And I was like, that's an alarming title for the BBC.
I didn't even know they had a government.
I mean, as a white kaiju, I'm not allowed to say anything.
Please tell me I did not just do that.
What did you just do? Oh, did you shear off a pin?
Yeah, I think I did.
Do you have a craft knife?
Mini.
If you can part separate them, you can usually check. Or
Either
just
that, or I have my pieces reversed.
actually,
No, it's
let's not shit on Generation Z. Um, we have to make the world tenable for them, even though they've done nothing but shit on our generations.
in fairness, that is the way of things. We're supposed to be mad at their weird actions and lack of work ethic. God's sakes, they don't even know how to clean a chalk slate without getting it all on them.
But because you brought it up specifically, what was your immediate reaction when, I mean, like your first visceral reaction when you saw that NPC culture, whatever it is, NPC streaming, I believe is what they call it?
I honestly thought it was a robot.
I thought I was having like a stroke. I thought, oh my god, has my brain stopped being able to interpret what other people are saying? Am I having like a reverse Bruce Willis disease?
I've had something like that.
Because I think it was Internet Today was the first people that I saw it on, and they decided that the funny thing to do would be to like have that intro just doing that, just doing the gang, yes, 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 and then they kind of like ran the end, or they went into the actual story, and for the like first 30 seconds I felt like I was legitimately having like, oh my god, they're gonna find me collapsed on the floor in a catatonic state. I'm gonna be a vegetable for the rest of my life. I experienced ego death for the second time. Because it was
strokes are way more recoverable now than they used to be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can usually get away with a lot more than you could.
My one of my family members had like a stroke every day for almost the last couple of years of his life. So, and he was still pretty. It wasn't the strokes that did him in, it was the cigarettes, if you can believe it.
It's always what you least expect.
Yes, we so rarely think of the thing that kills us as the cancerous stick that is addictive.
You're right, I am out of smokes.
But yeah, so like you thought it was a robot. I thought I was having some sort of mental incident.
Look, I was mad until I found out how much money they were making. Then it's like, oh, yeah, okay, that makes perfect sense.
Yes, because on TikTok, you pay to use emotes apparently, and
you pay to use emotes here.
Yeah, but you get to keep them. Like you have to pay per emote, I think it is on.
I thought they were just donations that were represented by emotes.
Yeah, that's how it works. Like a Cosmos or something is worth $13. I don't know. I don't want my brain to be filled with this information.
Yeah, they were like talking about how they're making like $2,000 a day with like that, or something ridiculous.
am half tempted to try it. Just set my stream to NPC stream once, but I get the impression that this is exclusive to TikTok. Like the people doing this are somewhere between the demographic of 12 and 16 at the oldest. That's the impression I get.
Oh, there's a bunch of copycats of this right now that are nowhere near as charismatic, ironically enough.
Nowhere near as charismatic as people who say the names of emotes.
Yeah, there's actually people doing this not as good.
Huh.
Yeah, this is the world we live in. This is real. It's a real thing, people. Real humans.
I would
Dead
blame
parents.
Trump, but this happened under Biden's watch. So,
Okay, well, I guess it's his fault.
yes, it's a black day for baseball fans. But how long do you think it's going to last as like a thing? Do you think it will actively be something we're still seeing in 6 months' time, or do you think it'll be over before we even know it?
I'm surprised. I will be surprised if it lasts longer than the summer.
Mm.
People are just gonna get bored of it.
Well, that kind of like brings my attention back to the topless woman streaming body painting on Twitch right now, presumably. How I don't know why I feel like I need to compete with that. Why do I get the impression that I have to compete with that as someone who likes to create content? Whether or not that content is good.
Practically or theoretically?
I suppose both.
Well, fundamentally, they're going after different audiences.
Yes.
So the way this was going to happen, so the people whom are going to watch that were not coming here. They're not coming to watch little models. They're gonna go watch some titties.
That's true. You know, well, I never really thought about it that way. That the people.
It's like we're like selling items at a grocery store, right?
Mm-hmm.
You might be making some Bestoke yogurt, and you're competing with Chunko chip cookies. Well, the cookie people aren't really going to buy your healthy, weird yogurt. They're never going to do that.
Mm.
So, saying the cookies are taken away from the yogurt isn't really true.
Come get a
No,
blast
we're-
of my yogurt, everyone.
Tasty. I hope the noise gate didn't cancel that out.
No, I didn't hear anything, so.
Okay.
Although my noise gate will probably be different from yours, so. As I'm on Discord.
You know what? It's fine. Not everyone needs to hear my weird, gross noises.
Oh, don't worry about that. Almost no one can hear you fart.
Oh, no, I was making a slurping sound.
Oh, then I definitely didn't hear that.
What I think is crazy is that it cuts off me laughing a lot of the time.
That will be the noise. That will be sort of like the audio peaking, preventing. That'll be one of the gates preventing audio peaking. So when you laugh, you'll go over a certain sort of decibel, and it'll cut it off so that it doesn't potentially damage the mic. So what other stuff do you think is crazy in this world that isn't directly political, but is like a social thing, I guess? You can't say like the DMV or something that's part of our daily life that's really tedious. I mean, some part of modern media, I guess.
Oh, let me just say this about the DMV. What the hell is y'all's people's problem? I have had nothing but pleasant experiences.
I mean, most of the
In and
DMV
out,
jokes were
30
written.
minutes.
Most of the DMV jokes were written by comedians in the 90s who, to be a comedian, you have to apparently have no life skills. So,
Which, well, did the DMV just get their shit together? Is that what happened?
possibly.
Because in and out, 30 minutes, everyone was super friendly. I was laughing and kidding. It was a good time as far as getting government documents is concerned. Now, am I willing to believe that maybe I just have a great little set of people? Which, I mean, honestly, we don't even have a DMV, it's a DPS.
Wait, do you have like a post office as your DMV instead?
No, the police run it.
Oh. Why would the police run the motor thing? We run that by the post office in the UK.
Is the post office in the UK like it is in Italy, where it's like you're everything? You can just do anything there? It's your library, it's your passport, it's your bank card, it's just everything you can do.
No, you can send government forms and you could deposit money into your bank account and you can mail stuff. That's about it.
Okay, you can't put money in your bank account here.
You can put money into your bank account.
So that's not a thing we can do. You can buy stamps, you can send your mail, you can get your mail.
Mm-hmm. That's all stuff you can do
Yeah.
at the post
You can
office.
get passports.
Passports. I think you have to go to the government for passports.
The post office is the government, but
I think you'll find that His Majesty's service and the government is different from His Majesty.
have you gotten used to saying His Majesty yet?
Pretty much, yeah. What annoys...
When you get new money?
We've gotten the first of the new coins a few months ago. But that was only because those were the only ones that they had ready, I think. Honestly, we probably won't see any new money until another... Probably... I'm going to say at least a year. I mean, bearing in mind that in the UK, when we changed over from paper money to plastic money a few years ago, people were still, and they still do, have paper notes for years afterwards. So...
I'm glad we've never got the idea to do plastic money.
It's horrible. It's literally the worst material you've ever felt in your life. It's disgusting. It feels somehow dirtier than regular money. And then... Do you know what makes it worse? Is the fact that I have to work at the post office and handle foreign money.
And it feels just so good, huh?
Yes. Yes. I handled... And you know what kind of bugs me is when money bills are all different sizes, which I understand why. They have to be differential for blind people to tell the difference of what note they're handling. But I got to handle some dollars, and that's a very rare exception. You mostly handle euros, and occasionally some foreign currency that people have left over that they want to trade for something, which you technically can't do. But I got to handle some dollars the other week, and they were all brand new dollars.
Oh, nice. The new ones. I love the new ones.
They were all the same color. They were all the same size and shape, and they felt so fucking nice to hold.
That is one of the reasons I think we're not going to get some of the weirder changes in the money is, one, we're just... Okay, yeah, you can argue that it's boring looking, but it means stuff to us. And it feels good. It looks good. I really like it. I like dollars.
No, it feels amazing to hold them. There's something about them. They're all the same color. They're all the same size.
They're a good size too. Like I have some Weimar marks. I have a mark, and it has a good feel, but it's a weird size. It's slightly longer than it is tall, which actually, do I have this thing laying around here? I'm gonna side rail too much if I can't get at it. Nope, I will fall. Never mind. Deal with that later.
I mean,
I'll show you my mark sometime.
I mean, I've probably still got one lying around somewhere, but 500 yen coins are very satisfying to having a lot of them, because that's the equivalent of effectively the equivalent of $5 in a coin that's about the same size as a quarter.
Now, when we're still getting dollar coins, which theoretically we are going to get one this year, let's see how that works out.
Do all the presidents go on a dollar coin, or do you have to be special?
Okay, the way they were doing it, they were going to run through all the presidents, all the deceased presidents, because it is a law that you cannot have a living president on a coin.
Okay.
Or coin or money, any kind of money. They have to be has to be done posthumously.
So there's a good chance we won't ever see Donald Trump on a coin. Because I feel like that's what he wants. That's what he wants most of all. He just wants to be on a coin. Like a real official coin.
Not in our lifetimes, I doubt it.
And hopefully the US will not exist by the time that it would roll around. So.
Well, that really depends on the reptilians now, doesn't it?
What, do you mean the Democrats?
No, I said the reptilians, not the demons.
Yeah, you mean the Republicans?
No, I said the reptilians, not the rat people.
You mean the Libertarians?
No, I said the reptilians, not the coke addicts.
You mean the Tea Party? What does the Tea Party want? Are they aren't they just libertarians?
They just want tea.
I don't know.
Or their party. They were just a Republican grassroots protest movement that had a bit of time under the Obama administration. You got a couple candidates elected to office, did a bunch of nothing, and kind of faded away. They weren't an actual separate group a party. They were more closely related to a Republican Reform Party.
Ah. So they were like old school Republicans.
Yeah. Kinda.
Oh, here's a history question for you. How many people died at the Boston Massacre?
I don't know. Are Redcoats people?
They would have been... Redcoats wouldn't have been the people who died at the Boston Massacre. It was...
You know what? I think it was like... wasn't it like 5 people, and then it got inflated like 13, and just kept growing?
It's actually less. It was 3 people. 3 people died. Yeah, the Boston Massacre is one of those things where it was basically a propaganda piece.
Well, everything's propaganda.
I suppose that's technically true. Propaganda literally just means to propagate information.
To get actual information, you won't know that until 50 years from the event. Minimum. Until it becomes actual history, we're not going to know what happened.
So that means we've got... Oh wait, that's been 50 years since Kennedy was shot, so... What is that? We're overdue for...
Oh, they revealed it! The CIA did it.
I knew it! It was...
Yeah, Oswald was a CIA asset. That's been confirmed.
So, I thought... Why would the CIA hire... Oswald to kill the president, then kill him with Jack Ruby, if Ruby was a CIA gunman?
Maybe Ruby knew how to keep his goddamn mouth shut, and Oswald didn't.
But why would they want to kill Kennedy? And well, they have pigs, obviously, but and the fact that
Kennedy was going to dismantle the CIA.
Isn't that treason? At that point, I mean, like they killed the president, so.
Well, I mean, only in the literal sense, but they had good reasons to do that. I love the CIA. They are the best agency.
What were you talking about, Cygnus? You said you hated the CIA.
No, I love the government. I am making this statement under my own free will, under no fear of retaliation. I love the government.
Did I just hear a rifle bolt go? It must have been my imagination.
Yeah, that's clearly not a T-13 Mauser. Nope, definitely not. Yep, everything's normal.
Return to your homes and places of businesses. We have fun here, poking fun at the CIA. But we kid. We kid because we love.
Yeah, I feel like I'm missing a step. How the heck is that arm getting on there?
Have you put the ball joint in there? Or rather, the cup in there?
I have a cup, I have a little guy, I feel like I'm missing a joint.
Hang on, show it to the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got it in there. Turn it round. Turn the shoulder round. Turn the arm round the other way round. Okay, almost there.
I bet this is so frustrating.
Okay, so have the shoulder. See that shoulder there? That grey bit going out? That's a thruster.
Oh, so I need a little. Oh, it's supposed to go like that. Ah, there's a little joint underneath of it.
Yeah, you've got the. It looks like you've got the shoulder pad on the wrong way around.
Hmm.
No, just pull off the shoulder joint. Pull off the shoulder entirely. Disconnect it. Yes. Now put it on the opposite way round. There you go. No, you had
it like that.
you had it correct. Look at this. Look like how it's supposed to be here.
Oh. Your stream's gone. Give me a second. Yeah, it's unfortunate we couldn't get the cameras to work in Discord for us.
Yeah, I don't know what was up with that.
Us.
I guess it must be Discord. Because it was happening for both of us. So there's your arm joint. And you put the shoulder in. And then shoulder arm goes into the joint. Bang bang boom, done. Legs. Okay, there we go. We're on to legs. Let's see. What else is interesting to talk about?
Any movement on the secret project?
Yes. So Cygnus knows what the secret project is. So basically, I believe what I said is that like there was an interview and things went really well, and we've kind of gone into a transitionary phase that basically nothing really needs doing until September, I think. That's the problem. And it's the waiting is kind of what's killing me at this point. Because
it's the waiting, the hardest part.
yeah. So I'm trying not to think about it too much. It's just a case of, well, I guess I'll just have to like it or lump it. This is the pain I must suffer through to get the goal. And like, I think I've specified that the reason that I don't want to talk about it at this point, like sort of like outright on stream, is because there's always the possibility, even though it feels quite like things are going the right way now, finally, after 7 years.
That sounds about right.
That it could still fall apart. Something could go wrong. Things are very much based on the wills of other people, and that's quite scary and daunting, because it is not something I've had a whole sort of luck with before. So yeah, at the moment it's just sit around and wait for things to happen. In fact, I will probably contact a specific person in order to like look at some other options, because, well, not look at other options, but look at some options to help take my mind off of it. Oh damn, I put those on there. Didn't put those on at all.
Oh, you're talking about substances. That sounds like a fun time.
Sorry?
So speaking of drinking,
Mm-hmm.
I just got my hands on some Lindenberry absinthe.
Absinthe.
Mm-hmm. So it is. It's been an interesting time. It's about as bitter as a regular absinthe, but slightly sweeter. But it has a hell of a aftertaste. I like red too.
I can imagine so. I mean, it's absinthe. It's going to be what, over 40%, much higher than that. What else?
I think it's like 55.
55.
Which is normal for a hard liquor.
Well, vodka is normally 40%. Wine is 14%. So, and again, what is malt liquor? I've never had malt liquor, but I'm curious about it.
Malt liquor is, how can I put this? It is a slightly sweet, highly concentrated liquor that you drink when you don't have anything else.
So, it's poor people wine?
Yes. With sometimes an ethnic connotation.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, the only time I've really seen it is when the people drinking it in movies or TV shows are either white trash or, stereotypical black people.
Yeah, there is very much a class association with it.
I mean, when you break down, the stereotypical food thing is usually because of it's an association of food that was available to the people at that time. So, like, fried chicken was what, black slaves?
It was invented by Southern blacks as a very portable food, so you can get your food on the go before the hamburger was invented.
Yeah. So, and watermelons were traditionally very easy to grow in the South when black people were enslaved there.
It was actually it is easy to grow theoretically.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had any fucking luck.
Well, are you overwatering them?
I don't know. I think it's actually a soil composition problem because the vines grew, but it didn't bud fruit. I think unless the beetles got to it like they did with the cauliflower.
Cauliflower. Yuck.
Yeah, that didn't grow either. The Brussels sprouts, though, they came in well.
Brussels sprouts.
Yeah. If you've never seen a Brussels sprout on the vine, it looks like an alien.
Oh, I know what they look like. You're aware that British people eat those things like every week.
Have you ever seen them grown?
Yeah, they grow on stalks.
Yeah, yeah. They look weird. They're a weird looking thing.
Why would Americans want to have those things?
You mean delicious tiny cabbages?
You mean poison flavored shit balls? We have to roast them
Hey,
with bacon in
that's
order to
called-
make them edible.
That's called devil's food cake, and you leave my poison shitballs alone.
Seriously, what? That has to be like a Americans saw British people eating them one time and were like, we can have that. We can eat those.
Well,
And
keep in mind that we have an incredible amount of British culture, as well as we have a lot of German culture here too.
yeah, and German food's better than ours. So why would you want to import the one thing that tastes awful? Just awful.
But I like Brussels sprouts.
Well, you're wrong.
You're wrong. All right, I have a nice half-built model.
God, Nova, what's he done to you?
Look at him.
He looks as though he's about to, like, beg for death.
No, you don't get legs. Screw your legs. You don't get legs. Taking your legs away. You don't get none.
Why? Why was I programmed to feel pain?
Why were the bots in Star Wars programmed to feel pain?
Because how else would they know they're slaves? What else are they going to do?
Sing Disney musicals?
Don't give Disney any free ideas.
Well... Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how much I can say about Disney here. Because they have done some stuff.
You can say whatever you like.
Oh, like how they help film movies near concentration camps?
American or German?
Chinese.
Oh.
They filmed the Mulan live action near the Uyghur concentration camp.
Oh.
So, them using one of the many enslaved people from China is that seems about their brand. Speaking of Disney, what do you think about cryonics?
Not a real science. I mean, the myth that Walt Disney's head is preserved in a cryonic capsule is a fabricated lie. He was cremated. Like, it's well documented fact that he was cremated.
Well, I guess that is the opposite of cryonics.
Yes, it's pyronics.
Womp womp.
But yeah, there's no real science behind it. It's just preserving a body before. I mean, legally, you can't take a human and freeze them. It would be manslaughter
Legally,
at best.
yes. You can freeze them legally.
You can freeze them at point of death. You can't take a living human being that is still alive and still technically sentient and freeze them. Hell, you probably can't even take them whilst they're a vegetable.
There is a requirement for X number of brain activity, and once that below X threshold is met, you are legally dead. That is the legal standard for death is brain activity. Which is a thing I know offhand for normal reasons. I'll you know what? I'll tell you the story off air.
Believe me, I've got my own brain activity story, so...
Oh, good, we can swap. It'll be fun. I'll make watercress sandwiches.
But yeah, like the whole point that a person can't... All you're really doing is preserving the body, and even then you have to assume that the body is going to be kept in that condition for potentially hundreds of years.
Until we figure out some way to overcome the entire destruction of cell structure that comes from being frozen.
Yes. I mean, freezer burn's a real thing.
Tell me about it. I lost a fair bit of meat just recently to freezer burn.
Ew.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate. Lost a bit of brisket, bit of pulled pork. Not having it.
Oh, that was the throwing meat into a river incident.
Yes.
I thought you were talking about yourself.
I was not throwing it into a river. It was off a bridge.
Yes, you were throwing it off Goatman's bridge.
I'm not angry, Goat Man.
Oh, that was it. You were gonna tell me about the donkey woman, weren't you?
Yeah, we did talk about Donkey Woman. So, back in the day, there was a phone number you would call called Donkey Woman. And she would, you would call her up and she'd answer and she'd bray at you.
So how'd you know it's not just a regular woman doing a donkey call at you?
I was 8.
And?
So, I mean, that seemed realistic when you're 8. But this is old. This is like something my dad did. So I would imagine it's a recording. That you just call it up and it plays like whatever the 50s equivalents for an answering machine was. Then, yeah.
They did actually have answering machines in the 50s. They were just like owned by the telephone companies.
Telephones are actually super interesting.
So, but the donkey woman, like, I don't know why I find that endlessly fascinating. What?
Yeah, she's supposedly half woman, half donkey. And she just brays at you.
But there's no like photo attached to it. There's like no image of a half woman, half donkey.
No news reports. Just the phone number.
This is not like Bat Boy found in cave.
Well, the phone number's real.
Here's the thing: is it still active?
I don't know.
Well, you know what you've got to do. I can't verify this information. I don't have access to it.
I'm gonna have to call.
I'm kind of terrified now. Don't. In fact, don't do it. No, don't do it. Don't pull my tail.
I'll know more than that. Get over here.
Hey. That's stuff for Fansley. Besides, I don't even have that yet. It's, Vika's not done with it.
Oh, you're getting one of those models, huh?
Mm-hmm. And then...
Funsies.
Well, I don't even know what I'm gonna do with it. That's the thing. I just thought it'd be... The option's there to have it. Because, Vika just builds them from sort of like nude up to begin with. And then just sort of like adds in the options for, you know, anatomical correctness. Because the clothes that you actually see on my model are literally that. They're clothes for the model. So like the underneath there is technically, strictly speaking, a nude model, I suppose. But it's just, you know, there's no actual parts to it other than skin. And then like the clothing itself would be like a layer on top. So that's how you can actually just interchange a lot of the outfits. Even though I technically don't have any outfits.
I just keep thinking horrible things.
Smut.
I want to know. Is it a tentacle?
No. I thought I sent you the dick. I mean, I thought I sent you the other reference.
No, you haven't.
Right.
Don't feel obligated.
Let's see, where am I up to?
Of course, you got those last couple things I sent you.
Last couple things?
Yeah, that last selfie.
Selfie?
Mm-hmm.
No, just the PNGs you sent me.
I'll send that to you later then.
As long as it's not actually nudes.
No, it's the one with the mask.
The one with the mask.
Yeah.
Mask?
Mask.
Mask. Huh.
Okay. So it sounds like I didn't send that to you.
No,
It'll
it
be
must
fine.
have been
I'll do that one.
must have been another Kujira, which would be deeply concerning. Unless this is a bit. Is this a bit? You've got to tell me if this is a bit.
Oh, I might have just. You know what? I just sent it to send. That's what it was. I don't think I actually sent it to you. You answered the call. I feel like I'm missing a joint somewhere. Yeah.
Are you still
There it
working
is.
on the Gardenova?
Yes, I am doing arms. I am almost done with my second arm.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm moving at Turtle's pace.
Let's see, where are we up to? I'm almost done with my second model. Waste. There we go.
Oh, you're definitely winning this.
That's kind of the thing about, because I've been discussing with Vika. I don't know if you were there for the discussion of it. on the last stream, but because I've been discussing getting a second model for myself, I will be quite interested to see if there will be a reaction to it. Although I've hardly been keeping it secret what I want about it. It's going to be a much more anthropomorphic form. Furry, for
Are you doing I thought you were gonna go full kaiju.
Kaiju is, I don't know. I don't feel like prioritizing the kaiju model. I don't know why per se, but it's not something that I'm sort of like super in the mood to do. I like have a different visions for it. I don't know. I do imagine that at some point I will have the kaiju model, but yeah, for whatever reason, like I think I want to try and create a. Well, it's difficult to say. I want a bunch of different models to suit whatever mood I'm in, and I feel like this next model might be a little more in line with what I originally envisioned, if only like a little bit, because well, it's difficult to say. I feel like when Vika made this model, it kind of helped me
Understand some things about yourself.
Kind of. For lack of a better word, yes. It helped me align more to clarify what I actually want in my visual look. And I love this model. It is fantastic, but it also tells me what I want out of another model. Like, it wants me to what I want for sort of like an actual how I would design things. If that makes sense.
I think so.
Basically, it reminds me of what I'm missing out on, or what I feel like I'm missing that would make me happy. And one of the things that would make me happy right now is having this specific sort of anthropomorphic My Hero Academia alternate form that is going to scratch a particular creative itch that I see myself as having. And that's the sort of space I'm in for it. Which is why maybe I should get into having Vika design a character reference sheet, so then I can be like, yes, this is what I want. This is what sort of a design I'm after. I knew they were going to make me do this. So now we're on to the armoring phase. So that's just an optional part. Okay. So yes, I'm still kind of of two minds, and a lot of VTubers that I kind of not necessarily admire, but appreciate the, well, I guess admire. Admire is the best way of putting it. For example, Snuffy, who doesn't really have one model that she sticks to. She has multiple models, and they're all sort of more or less the same theme, but they're different variations on those themes, different ideas, different just sort of what that person wants creatively at that time. And I think that's the way I want to do it as well. And I think that's what would make me happy, sort of like just having whichever one suits my mood for that particular day. And right now I've got this particular vision in mind of like a anthropomorphic seal otter kaiju in a wetsuit, sexy, beautiful swimmer's body, that sort of thing. So that's the sort of way I want to play things. And maybe it'll attract more people, maybe it won't. But you know what? I think it will be an experimentation in exploring myself, and that's kind of what I want. It's like the new ethos of like this channel was to kind of like explore my sexuality, see what sort of like makes me tick, and it's kind of evolved a bit more into what am I about as a person. And I think I like that idea. The depths of the sea, the depths of my soul.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say the depths of me.
Ugh.
Horrible ride.
Oh.
The depths of the sea, the depths of me.
I thought you meant a different thing. I thought you were saying me, referring to you.
No. No, you bloody fuck.
You pressed me, referring to you. You pressed, what was it? You pressed you, referring to me. That is the incorrect answer. Only who can prevent forest fires?
You know, I didn't realize it was just me. I thought there was like a team or something. Jesus, I have to go to the woods. Have to go to Canada. Apparently, I'm not doing a good job up there.
Is Smokey Canadian?
No, Canada was just like the last place on fire.
Oh, right. Okay. In Europe, it's Greece.
Oh, well. Don't throw water on a grease fire. It'll spread.
Ha. I get that reference. The reference is to grease fires.
So, like, is the stuff named after the country, or is the country named after the stuff? Or is it just a coincidental naming?
Well, they do like oil wrestling in Greece, so maybe they just like being greased up.
I'm not sure.
Okay. I'm almost done with the second one.
I just started on my second.
Well, at least you finished the first one.
If you don't count the legs. Because I don't.
Ooh. That's unfortunate. What is that? What is going on there? Okay, that bit doesn't seem to sit quite right. No, they just don't sit quite right. Okay.
Get in there, you little bastard.
You're actually treading untrodden territory for me, because I've never built an Esposito or an Esposito Beta. Actually, which one did you get? Did you get the Alpha or Beta?
Alpha.
Alpha.
Alright. Oh no, I am on the wrong page.
Oh no.
Where was I? It was somewhere.
That might
Oh well.
make you canonically worse than Hitler.
Look, just because I like to mix black and brown clothes.
I mean, it really didn't help that you did that screaming tirade in that bunker.
Look, if you would have fucking pushed bot lane, like I said, we wouldn't have lost that match.
Nine.
Yes, that's how much my damage was. 9. Incidentally, I'm looking for part 9. Where's the part 6? Oh, no, B6.
And we're done.
Oh, must be nice.
Well, now I can do the fun part of combining the two. Let's give him his combat knife so he can cut vegetables. Let's give him his combat gun so he can
Cut vegetables?
cut vegetables, yes.
What is it? It's just a wireless hole puncher.
Yes, exactly. It's the entire point of it.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
That's why the AK-47 is short for Automatic Cuts 47 Vegetables. Everyone knows that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's his record time for breaking down vegetables.
Hooray! My robots
And
are done. There we go.
and there is no other joke to be made about them.
Yeah. So, how am I going to play this?
Loose and fun?
Yeah.
Loose and free. There. That's the phrase. Loose and free. Give it a bit of sizzle, though.
There, done. I've combined the two successfully. Stream over. Good night, everybody.
So, what have you, aside from the movie we just watched, what have you been watching anything recently?
Vox Machina.
I don't really care for them. They frustrate the hell out of me.
Yeah, it's definitely it has the unfortunate trope of Americans doing British accents because they think that's what fantasy world should sound like.
Yeah, of all the fantasy races, the British are my favorite.
It's true. We are mythological creatures.
Northamptonshire. That can't be a real place. That's clearly made up.
First of all, it's pronounced North Hampshire, but whatever.
Whatever version of ham. North Baconshire.
It's actually short for Hamlet, I believe.
I didn't even know I thought he just watched his sister die. I didn't even know he founded a city.
A hamlet is a small village. But moving on.
Yeah, founded by that guy, Hamlet. I can feel the vein in your head getting bigger.
I don't have veins in my head. My hair is in the way.
What are you, a tree? Like Shin Godzilla?
Oh, wait, hang on. That wasn't Shin Godzilla. That was Gaia Godzilla.
Oh. Yeah.
You fucking poser.
Yeah, I'm beautiful.
You dirty poser.
How was that?
You don't even know the difference between oh, wait, that's a different ball joint. Okay. Annoying. Shin Godzilla and regular Godzilla. I bet you kiss prostitutes, you do.
Well, what am I paying him for?
To do your laundry, that's what. I want to get off this. I don't want to shit
And that
on.
is actually an old joke.
Is it?
It's $200, do anything I want. Paint my house.
Yeah.
Which is actually a good deal.
Look, I've took the dragon head and I've stuck it on a motorcycle to make a cool fucking bike.
Oh, nice. That's worthy of a common rider.
Well, funny you should say that.
Don't tell me you broke your leg.
I broke her legs.
It's Common Rider on brand. That thing is cursed.
I could even add the knee pads. Okay, screw this. I'm not using the Garden Over for parts. I'm using her for parts.
Well, you know what they say about girls that wear knee pads.
That they're good at grouting.
I have never met one that could grout worth a damn. They're always putting the lines down too low.
How many people do you think actually?
That much.
How many people do you think actually know what grouting even means? Who are watching this stream.
Why do you not have tile floors? Not like the common thing there.
Not in the UK, no.
Oh, really?
Grouting's mostly for your bathroom or your kitchen.
Is the carpet bathroom? Is that real? Is that a real thing?
It was a real thing. It's not really a thing anymore. But some people still have carpeted bathrooms, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't. It's not particularly hygienic, but I've been to houses that have carpeted bathrooms. And
maybe if you owned an industrial steam cleaner to clean out that piss once a week.
yeah, no, they're usually in very big houses from my experience. Or possibly in something like a council house where they're all made identically. So they have a specific look and a specific sort of specification. Because, I mean, if you went to... I'm fairly sure that if you ever came to England and you stayed in someone's house, you would feel like you were living in a matchbox. Our houses are a fraction of the size of like a US house for people who've never been to the UK. We live in...
fairness, I've known like 4 people that lived in a closet.
How big was the closet? What floor space was the closet?
Standard closet size.
American closet? What is...
Yeah, American walk-in. They lived in that.
How big is an American walk-in closet?
3 meters by 1 meter by... let's see here. What is 10 feet? So that's 3 meters is 9 feet with another foot, or 30 centimeters. So 100. So 3 times. So 3 meters. So that's 3,000 centimeters plus 30 plus another 30 centimeters.
Look at him trying to do metric. Isn't it
Whatever,
adorable?
I did it. I don't want to hear it.
Go back to your imperial system.
It's one story.
You get rid of the king, but you keep the imperial system?
That's the part we like. We also oddly kept a lot of Roman buildings, so
Roman buildings?
yep. Ew. Looks like that. Yep, Romanesque buildings.
Oh yeah, I suppose all those pillars on the White House had to have come from somewhere.
The White House, Congress, the National Library, they're all very Roman inspired.
America does have that weird thing of like freedom given to the world when you think about it.
Well, it was a big win for the Enlightenment and helped end the actual reign of monarchs.
She has 2 big guns. There we go. I feel like she's missing out on something. But what? Gotta give her back armor? I can. Kind of fits. This is one of the things that I love about 30-minute missions is like you can just swap like the positioning of a piece and it will fit in to some degree.
You just gonna use this little knifey boy, moving things down.
Little knifey boy, is that a butterfly knife you've got?
Yep, this is my volley song.
How many animals did you got with that?
You kidding me? I don't even cut meat with it. That's not even a good knife for gut. This would be a much better gutting knife. See, we got a nice good false edge on there without a secondary edge. So that means you can push on it without risking getting cut. But
A little lower for the camera.
Your false edge. Sorry. So this guy. So we have our false edge here and a smooth area. So that means you're getting a high cutting surface while still being able to push on your blade. So coming up for your first skin, into your penetration.
You call that a knife? This is a knife.
By doing that number. So, much better gutting and skinning knife. For a larger game, not for fish. Fish, you want to use a fillet knife. You want a thin, long, flexible blade.
Oh, this one's stainless steel, see?
Yeah, that's a stainless steel. I didn't get nothing fancy. Actually, that one was a present.
I think he's obsessed with his own knife. He's not appreciating the joke.
Oh! You got a license for that.
I see you've played Knifey Spoony before. Oh, I could have done the joke with this guy's knife instead. He actually had a combat knife.
I have a real combat knife. I'm not sure where it wandered off to. It's a Vietnam era bayonet.
Oh.
So it's like an actual historical little guy I picked up.
Yeah, I had a friend who used to collect a lot of, let's call it, World War II era memorabilia.
It's popular. There's a lot of good things to collect from there, and I know what you mean. But in terms of just normal collection, yeah, no, a lot of good stuff out of there.
Yeah, he collected a lot of stuff. Although he did get rid of it eventually, because I think he saw the potential issues with that, of keeping that sort of specific memorabilia around. Oddly enough, he dug it up mostly in France.
Oh, he found it.
A lot of it, yes.
Oh, that would be nice.
At least that's what he told me.
You should auction that baby off. Auction those babies off.
Like I said, I think he got rid of them in order to not have that stuff around members of his family. Because it was...
History's history. There's probably a museum that'll like that collection.
Probably went into private hands, which might be mildly concerning, but I think he probably just wanted shut of it. It was all you know, losing side memorabilia, shall we say.
Italian memorabilia.
Yes, let's go with that.
Oddly enough, that is one of the areas I don't actually know too much about during the period, is what was happening in Italy.
I mean, they were all fairly fascistic. I mean, Italy especially.
Well, I was more referring to the battles.
Oh, okay. I think it was a lot of naval.
I'm aware of their political system.
I think it was a lot of naval battles, as a member of my family actually survived the naval battles as a crew member, and then tragically died after D-Day was declared. Not D-Day, V-Day, V-E Day, V-Day, Victory, you know.
Victory Day, which is different than VD Day, which incidentally are linked.
I don't know. The day of which, peace was declared. A few days after that, there were...
Oh, you didn't get that joke, did you?
Was it a sex joke?
Yes.
Vaginal diphtheria.
Yeah, it's an old-timey word for STDs.
Ah. Yeah, so apparently what happened was they were diving off of the ships recreationally during their downtime, and something happened and they died. And it was like, oof.
Oh, the irony.
Yes.
Reminds me of something that happened to a friend. His dad needed a kidney. Finally gets one. Survives the operation. Next week, slips in the bathtub, cracks his head open, dies.
Oof. That is,
Yeah.
that's pretty
Yeah.
tragic.
Really fucked him up. Sad I lost contact with him. But that's life.
Hmm. Yeah, I've kind of had the same situation where you kind of like no longer speak to people that you used to be really close with, and it's
Yeah, it's always interesting the way that goes. Someone so close can just stop one day.
mm.
But
That's
sometimes they don't.
yeah. I think that's kind of one of the things that's given me an appreciation for streaming. Is giving me appreciation for is the people who come by and see you just to hang out, just because they want to see you, and it makes you feel all warm and fuzzy. Which is why I always
sorry.
appreciate what Sentai and Slap and Whitney did, which is like come to Japan with me, which was like people want to go on holiday with me when they haven't met me. This is unheard of. I thought of myself as a big shit, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a kind of a weird thing getting out of your head like that. And as someone who's basically a shitter his whole life, yeah, it's interesting when people stick around. But you know, that's the nature of life. It's mercurial. It's temporal. We're just the lilies of the valley.
Time flies,
Eating
as the
grass.
Romans say. Tempus fugit.
Yep.
There you go.
Man, I really gotta stop throwing clocks.
Well, that's how you break them. Actually,
Look, if
kind
I
of
wanted to get up, I would have done it.
Kinda-
Clock's getting thrown.
dig how this one's turned out, even though it's basically just a head swap and an arm swap. I like how stocky and short he is, but with like that big bulky armor. Although, I don't remember if I mentioned this last time I was actually building this. This bike, if you buy a second one of the monobikes, you can combine them into a motorbike. So I'm gonna have to get one of those at some point. Because this cannon on the end is fucking useless.
Just like the real life counterparts for the motorbike cannons,
Were those a thing?
they were absolutely a thing.
And were they
They're one of
useless?
my favorites. Well, imagine a 35 millimeter gun on what's essentially a Vespa.
Wait, 35 millimeter, isn't that like a big shell?
Yeah, it's an artillery piece. It's a monster of a round and just the tiniest little bike. It's hilarious. Of all the bad ideas, it was definitely one of them. It's hilarious because they have way more guns than they do bikes, so they would actually just like kind of fall over after each shot. They wouldn't be able to get them sustained. Mounting unusual weapons to non-dedicated vehicles is called a technical.
Really?
Because, yeah, there is a reason for it. That someone listed technical assistance for as a cover for buying arms. for the life of me, I can't remember who exactly did that. I'm missing a little piece here. I need this connector, which is A4 here, but isn't.
You will end up with
also
like double
A3.
sprues, remember, so you can always find it somewhere else. Or you may find it on a different sprue altogether.
A3, 7. Okay. I was up a bit late again. Had the D&D game with the guys.
Mm-hmm.
Endlessly fun. We didn't even start. We were supposed to explore this little underground ruin. We got sidetracked hard. So
Oh, yeah?
what wound up happening? Yeah, we got an artifact. We're supposed to return it to these ports, and we did. And it was supposed to be a quick little endeavor, and it was not. Wound up getting into a whole mess with him.
So, what
Here's
was
the other
the thing you were supposed to be doing?
So we were supposed to come through last night and start exploring the other ruins,
Mm-hmm.
and we did not. So we still have to. The ruins are still on the table for us to explore, but we were completely sidetracked by negotiating with these orcs that got them into agreeing to help us in combat at a later time, and we hunted a mammoth.
Oh, a mammoth. So, are you
A
fighting?
mammoth.
Is it like a primal sort of setting?
No. It's the regular setting. There's just mammoths and dinosaurs. They just live there.
Oh.
Which, incidentally, there are some people trying to bring the mammoth back in real life.
Yes, there is. But I've been under the. I was under the impression that they don't think it's really viable to do. At least not at this stage.
I think it's more less viable and more of almost it says practical concerns.
Mm.
Which is I believe a code word for money.
Yeah, well,
Money problem.
there's not a whole lot of things you can do with a mammoth, other than
They want them there for pollination purposes to help with global warming. Is how they're billing it.
really. I'd just make it mammoth burgers.
Honestly, I want to hunt a mammoth. There's mammoths. I want to hunt one, like my ancestors did.
You mean like everyone's ancestors did?
And, well, first and foremost, no. You had to have ancestors in a plains area in where mammoths lived.
Which would have been Siberia.
Siberia, Alaska, and early parts of the plains U.S. So there's no South American there's no South American mammoths. There's no African mammoths.
Maybe that's because they weren't countries back then.
Yeah, Africa is my favorite country.
We used to be just one world, and now look at it. People divided
Yep,
with
what?
wars and strife and
Uh,
modern internet usage when we could.
are you gonna start? Are you gonna break out in a rising chorus of Rule Britannia?
When we used to be one world. We used to be one people under one sky. And the world was never so strife or pain or ignorance. And everybody used to live in harmony with the planet. And
Yeah, and
this bit got away from me.
and they lived with the elves and the gnomes. Which remember, never trust a fae. Never trust them. Never make a deal with them. Never accept a gift from them. They're always up to something. Do not trust the fae.
Oh, please. Everything we give is free, gratis, and without charge. And it's always something
Well,
you want.
You'll pay, just not always with money. B17. Hey, we got a bingo yet?
I don't know about a bingo, but I've got 2 model kits. And chop chop, time's ticking.
I have half a model kit and most of one. That's a lie. I have arms.
Now, the bomb will detonate if you fall beneath a certain threshold.
Oh, please do. Sweet release of death. The void calls. Yeah.
Great, he's singing Danny Boy. So, the speaking of D&D, I want to run at least some form of D&D campaign, but I don't know how to dungeon master.
Oh, you know what? We've been working on something. Don't want to give it any publicity until everything's concrete. But talk to me later about that.
Okay. Because I really want to play a jester, but apparently under like whatever the newest edition of D&D is, most things just fall under bard.
Okay. I am a Pathfinder guy. That's the edition I know in and out.
Uh-huh.
And if anything happens, it's probably going to be under Pathfinder 1 or 2.
Are there jesters in that?
There's rules for anything. You want to make it, we can make it happen. That's the thing. Do you want to be a jester? Sure. Do you want to be a talking hat? A-okay. Do you want to be a frog that sells poison? Yep, we got them. Do you want to be a tiny robot with a laser cannon that incidentally also is obsessed with baking bread even though it can't eat? Yep, we got them too. If you can imagine it, we have rules for it. And if there's not rules for it, we can make rules for it.
That seems pretty fun.
Let's see here. One of my more outrageous characters, or at least interesting, is I was a pigeon.
You're a pigeon?
I played a pigeon. So, are you familiar with the end of Tesla's life?
Nikola Tesla.
Yes.
Sort of. Wasn't there like some mystery around the way he died?
Yeah, we don't actually know how he died, but he also married a pigeon that shot magic rainbow lasers out of its eyes.
Is that
Yep.
true?
Well, that's what he said.
Was he completely insane when he died?
I think he was having schizophrenic episode. That's what honestly it sounds like. Because that is being incredibly paranoid, having unusual behaviors, having unusual beliefs like that. Those are all real dead giveaways for schizophrenia. So I think the pigeon thing, especially a persistent and obsessive delusion, would be fit the bill. But incidentally, I decided to play that pigeon.
So is Pathfinder set in one world, or can you set it across multiple different worlds? Like,
Pathfinder is a rule set. So what you do with it is 100% up to you.
I'm gonna have to turn that lamp away, otherwise it's gonna blind me.
If that makes any sense, it's like So there's no there are some things that are assets, but there's no defined set. We played in everything you can possibly imagine. Played in planes. We played in some of the official campaign settings, some inner seas, Faerun. I am well known for running a space campaign that took place across many worlds and dimensions.
Honestly, dimension hopping seems like one of the more confusing things to do.
It is, it's a thing. So, the original game that was made, D&D 1, had a setting called Spelljam.
Yes, I'm familiar with Spelljammer because these guys. Do you know what this is?
Looks like a cicada.
Close. So this is an aura battler, which was literally converted into Spelljammer as the Spirit Warrior. If you're not familiar with what Spirit Warrior is, it is a creature from the Spelljammer settings that is literally a giant insect, necromagically enchanted and genetically engineered into a mecha, essentially. And that was directly lifted, referenced by the creator of the Spelljammer setting as being influenced by Aura Battler Dunbind, the anime from the 1980s.
Where all the good anime comes from.
Mm-hmm. Like Guyver is in Spelljammer.
So, dimension hopping is a fun setting, and the real focus of it is preparation to go into the next plane. That's and exploring what's going on there.
I kind of thought a while ago that it might be fun to have like very harshly just juxtaposing settings a lot of the time. So, for example, you go to like a cutesy Hello Kitty world, one for one portion, then you follow it up by I don't know, being in Cyberpunk the next, and you're just sort of like collecting all this equipment and junk and characters from around them.
And cutesy Hello Kitty in Cyberpunk really makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I actually thought that something like Maple Story Palm Town would probably be a more fun setting to go off of, because that really is sort of like a trying to take a sort of Hello Kitty aesthetic and apply it to a slightly real world sort of storytelling. Granted, it's for children, obviously, so it's not meant to be, oh, these are real world problems, but it's that sort of effectively like light drama, but set in one of the cutest sort of 1980s or sort of like early 90s beach aesthetics. So they are very sort of like, the characters are very rounded. They're all sort of like very slightly chubby. They have very soft palettes, so they're all sort of like hues of browns and pinks. Like the most intimidating animals in the setting are cats, so that's about it.
Which can still kill a level 1 wizard.
In fact, let me see if I can find a picture to illustrate what Palm Town looks like. Monogatari Palm. Palm Town. Mapletown, Monogatari, okay, also known as Palm Town. So Mapletown is set in the woods, and Palm Town is set at the beach. And here's a good sort of
Alright, catching up here in a second.
no, that is a absolutely tiny image. No, that is also a very bad image. Unfortunately, one of the things about this anime is so old, and whilst it's not exactly obscure because it's getting plenty of search images, like the actual reference images themselves are hideously small JPEGs.
Huh, that seems to be an issue.
What issue is it you're having?
I have dropped a leg connection.
Nope, that's a WebP. I can't do anything with WebP.
Those are the worst format ever to be created.
You don't have to tell me.
Well, I'm doing it anyway. Maybe I can harvest something from here.
Uh,
So. Yeah, I've kind of been obsessing over that song, "Better Off Alone."
Better Off Alone.
Yeah, it's an old song.
What is this? Oh, these are 3D generated images. My brain was trying to work out what they were, but they're not good. They are not good images. They don't look like anything.
So, how are you liking the avatar I finally picked out?
I like it. It's mysterious.
It. So I know you've seen the source from this,
Mm-hmm.
but this is entirely recreated from that.
Mm-hmm.
So that actually wound up just being a reference. Probably gonna do some more work on this because there's more stuff to add.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
Like I want to get some. I want some writing on the clothing. Gotta hit some objects at some point.
Okay, I'm gonna have to just pull something from here. Okay, at least that's a JPEG.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna wind up. I don't know if I want to do a cover or a remix.
Of the Better Off Alone song.
Yep.
Nope. Okay. No, I can't find it. I'm just gonna have to link it to people. Ad break ends in 1 minute 20 seconds. Oh.
Jeez, that's a long ad.
I have no control over them now. That's the problem.
That's madness. You figure you should be able to like choose when you get your ad roll as long as you do it.
They're randomized, it seems.
It definitely feels like that.
Okay, there's the link for if people want to see what the sort of aesthetic of what Mapletown and Palmtown is. It is incredibly cute. I kind of want to do a cyberpunk world with that aesthetic.
Well, if you're gonna do that, have you considered playing Cyberpunk?
Yes. Well, Cyberpunk is the book that I have.
Oh, you got Red, or do you have 2020?
2020.
I like Red more than 2020 because 20 is really, really crunchy.
Or does red have exotics in
And-
it?
Yes, but there's a humanity penalty for it.
Dude, that undermines the point of exotics.
They're still humans.
Red lets you be any machine that you want, and you suffer no consequences. What's even the point of that?
What do you mean? You can be there's a humanity cost to it.
I think I know a little more about a game I've never played than you do.
I only played it for 6 months.
Exactly. Your silence is deafening.
I'm not being quiet. You cut me off.
Oh, lie all you want, Cygnus. It won't help you.
Which, love that character from that game. Actually, I loved all the characters from the game. It was a lot of fun.
What game? The Cyberpunk?
Cyberpunk Red.
Did you beat Johnny Keanu?
He wasn't in the game. He's been long dead. And so Red canonically happens between 2020 and 2077.
So why aren't there
During
any
what is-
exotics in 2077? If anything, there should be more of them.
I said there was. They exist.
Not in the game.
Yeah, in the game.
No, in like 2077, the actual computer game. There's no exotics in that.
Oh, I have no idea.
This thing falls to pieces.
I assumed they were. I haven't played 77.
Yeah, me neither. But it's...
Look, I don't have a graphics card.
not like me.
Let's see if I can even do this without breaking everything. Nope. I know what to do. We're just gonna move some stuff around. Charcoal. And power down. And quick rotation behind the scenes. Yeah, that's my computer.
Are you saying underneath of oh no, you've got a lag, that's why. Wow, that's a small computer.
Yeah, like I said, I don't have a graphics card. Not on my little egg.
Why would you have such a thing?
It has more power than a laptop at the same price point. And plus, I get better peripherals. So I get my sweet fucking keyboard and my nice mouse without having to deal with the laptop problem of their horrible peripherals or just replacing them and paying for stuff I'm not going to use
どこ
because they're awful.
柔道いくら
プロジェクト
So I've noticed you've got quite the lag on your actual feed.
Oh, how bad is it?
It's a few seconds behind. It's not so bad. Let's see. Let's see if I can do my own. So
Bitrate isn't good, but it's not awful. Oh, and now I get my alerts. Oh.
okay, yeah, mine's a few seconds behind.
I was wondering why I wasn't seeing anything. Thank you, Well, first off, thank you, Kuji, for following.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Sully. We appreciate the follow. Same with you guys. Thank you. Coffee.
古い
Thank you for the follow. Appreciate
行
it.
きます新聞
Ah, so the stream manager got turned off. I was wondering why I wasn't seeing anything.
3000
Ah, joy.
Indeed. Welcome to the world of streaming. I think I'm gonna have to end my stream here because I'm gonna have to go to bed.
Oh, it's getting late on your side.
Yeah, it's getting a little late. So thank you everyone for watching. I'm gonna stay in chat for a little while, and see how Cygnus gets on. But there's not much people are gonna see it on here anyway. But thanks for watching. I'll see you guys probably tomorrow. And then Tuesday, hopefully, we are going to do the actual installation of the new graphics card. So, look forward to seeing. Look forward to seeing like actual good game footage now. Hopefully, assuming the power supply works. Anyway. Thanks everyone for watching. Thank you, Cygnus, for hanging out with me. And
Thank you for having me.
yeah, and I will see everyone real soon. Bye, Jikaiju.